Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our homestead. Welcome inside of our kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make beeswax bread bags. But these bags can also be used for fruits and vegetables, cheeses, and other things. We're going to talk about the advantages of these bags, the properties of beeswax, and how to make them. You're going to be blown away at how simple it is. Let's get going. So my wife just made some sourdough bread, and I thought this was a perfect opportunity to show you how I make these bags. Because I need to keep this fresh, and other methods of keeping this fresh aren't very good at all, especially plastic bags, or even bread boxes like this one. Before I show you how to make these bags, let's talk about the advantages of the beeswax bags themselves. So what's our number one thing we want to do with our bread? We want to keep it fresh, we want to keep it crispy on the exterior, and we do not want mold to grow. Plastic bags hold in a lot of moisture and they promote mold growth. A bread box like this is not much better because most of these do not have good ventilation. Beeswax bags, on the other hand, regulate moisture. They let out the perfect amount of moisture and they keep in the perfect amount of moisture. And interestingly enough, veggies are going to last a lot longer in these bags as well. You know, sometimes you buy some veggies, you don't get to them right away. They sit in the refrigerator for just a little while and they turn slimy inside of those plastic bags. They're going to last longer and stay crisper if you put them in one of these. Just think about seeing a big cheese wheel at the store. What is that covered in? Beeswax. It's dipped in there to protect it. So the beeswax itself, and I've used this brand in previous videos, I'll leave it linked in the description below. Beeswax is antimicrobial, antibacterial, and antifungal. Properties you don't get in a plastic bag or a metal box, or even a wood bread box. Those natural inhibitors inherent in beeswax help prevent spoilage. And this is not going to leach into your food like some plastics will. At the end of the video, I'm going to talk about the financial advantage for you in making your own beeswax bags as opposed to buying plastic bags. Let's get to making these. We're just going to use two simple ingredients for this recipe. One is the beeswax and the other is pine rosin. What the pine rosin is going to do is help this to be more pliable, because if you did pure beeswax, it can crack. The pine resin will also make it more durable and a little bit stickier, so that when you wrap it around a jar, if you choose to do that method, then it'll stick to itself easier. And if you are doing a jar wrap, all you need is a simple piece of fabric, not these bags. So there are some out there who say the ideal ratio is a 1-to-1 with beeswax and pine rosin, but you can experiment what works best for you. For us, a 2-to-1 beeswax to rosin ratio is perfect. And all we are going to do is use a small mason jar in a pot of water as a double boiler to melt the wax and the rosin. So let's measure that out to complete our first step. So because we have just a pint mason jar here, we're going to go with 1 cup of beeswax and half a cup of the pine rosin. Going to kind of shake that up a little bit to get it evenly distributed, and we'll get this in our double boiler. The other tools you'll need is a cookie sheet and some sort of squeegee. This one works pretty good. Another tool that you might need is a hair dryer, but you can also use your oven. Now, one thing that can be a challenge with this is actually melting the pine rosin. So if you're having a challenge with it, then you could also add to the beeswax some sort of organic oil. Something like jojoba, I've got some black seed, or some flax oil. That's also going to assist things in being a little bit more pliable when you apply it to your bags. All you need is about a tablespoon of oil for about a half pint of wax. And you see, I had to move it to a large burner in front to get this to really melt a little bit quicker. Once your beeswax mixture is melted, you can take it off the heat and then do one thing. This will help your bag stay warmer. Put it over the double boiler, and that way the heat's going to transfer up, because as soon as we start using the squeegee on here, it's going to start to cool. And that's where our hair dryer is going to come in handy as well. You can see with the addition of the oil that this soaks in very nicely, but you want to get it toward the edges so that it soaks into all the seams. Now, don't use your wife's best cookie sheet. Use something that you can just toss away. You see how we're staying warm over the top of our double boiler. If it starts to harden and getting a little bit difficult and uneven and your double boiler is cooling off, just use your hairdryer. If you have any challenging parts like these corners here, you can just flip it over. You can see it's still liquid in the middle because it's over the top of our double boiler. You can see we've got some edges on this bottom side that need to be covered. But you can see since it's staying warm, we can continue to move around the excess. Now, if you're questioning whether this is good on the inside, you can always lift it up and examine your seams. Now be careful, when doing this over the double boiler, don't have the flame on because beeswax is flammable. What you're going to want to do now is let this dry. In a few seconds, it's not going to be that hot, so just pick it up and wave it around in the air. Now it'll start to solidify, so it doesn't stick together. You do want to open this up. And it's just warm to the touch right now, so I can easily put my hand inside to get air on the inside and get it to cool down. And you can see I've got some chunks on the outside. That's no big deal. Those will fall off. If there's some sort of stand or bottle you can sit this on so that it dries out from the inside and out, do so. Over here we've just got a bottle of avocado oil. I'm just going to put that over the top so it doesn't stick to itself. But again, as a tip, try to find a lower temperature melting rosin. You'd be surprised at the temps that these actually start to melt at. Now the other thing that you could have done was actually bake this in the oven. If you can't get even coverage on your bag or piece of fabric, putting it in a 250-degree oven is a good way to get even distribution of that wax. Now things like an extra cookie sheet or the squeegee, I got at the dollar store. I think the pan was $1.25 and the squeegee was $1. So you can get some cost-effective tools. Here's our bag. Let's put our bread inside and talk about cost. You can use the drawstring on these, but I prefer to just roll them up and use the heat of your hand to make it stick to itself. And it will stay like that. Okay, let's talk about cost. These great value Walmart brand gallon storage bags were $2.75 for 20. I bought 6 of these 18 by 15 pure cotton bags for $28. The beeswax was $26 and the pine rosin was $24. But this is a 1.1 pound bag and this is a 1 pound bag. So I most certainly didn't use both full bags for one of these bags. I used just a fraction of both, and what I calculated is a half cup of rosin and a cup or maybe a little bit more of the beeswax. The oil was really just a tablespoon, and that's kind of negligible. So for each beeswax bag total all in, I figured about $5.78. Now that is double what one box of 20 plastic bags cost me. But this is reusable over and over and over and over again. And if it ever starts wearing out around the seams, all you gotta do is add more wax to it. And that cost is barely anything. But how much bread or vegetables or herbs or whatever it might be do you waste in these bags, these plastic bags, because it spoils? So for less than $6 a bag, I would go with this every single time, even though the initial cost is higher. I can probably get both of these loaves in this one bag. You can even try and crumple the ends so it's a little bit more airtight if you want. But remember, the idea is to let this breathe. It's going to stay crispier longer, it's not going to go stale as quickly as anything else, and it's going to inhibit that mold growth, which is so important. That's it, friends. It's that easy. If you have any questions, please leave them for me in the comment section below the video. And remember, everything we use is listed below as well. Now go check out this video right here, which is our favorite method of preserving the harvests here on our homestead. Have a beautiful, blessed day. See you next time. Bye.